Hello, and welcome back to my channel, What's Good on TV. My name is Nicole, and I'm here to give my review of Love After Lockup. I think it's season 49, 46, episode 5, Love Bombs. So for this review, instead of going scene by scene, I am going to go couple by couple because they have a tendency to stretch this show out where there's a lot of fluff. And if you have seen it, then you will recognize the cadence they do with it. I'm going to show you what we're going to show you. They show it to us and then they tell us what they showed us and then they show us what they're going to show us again next. And then before we pick back up, they show us again so that we see the same stuff over and over again. They stretch it out, for an hour. So hour and a half, actually. So actually, I'm just going to go couple by couple and put it all nice together in a nice little package. Starting out with Key Rock and Brittany. The last time we saw Key Rock and Brittany, they were at the pond getting ready to get married. Very pretty, actually. Key Rock looked handsome. Brittany had on her white dress. And, she's feeling all conflicted and torn because she has not shared with Key Rock that she has actually contacted her probation officer, and the probation officer told her, ma'am, this looks like you could be trying to scam Texas, and they do not take kindly to that. I would not do this. This might not work out how you want it to work out. Also, for Brittany, this is not the wedding that she wanted. She kind of thinks of weddings as a one-time thing. Not everybody has some people have multiple weddings. This is true. Sometimes you can recommit. But anyway, for Brittany's first wedding, she has a vision in mind. She at least wants family there. So she pauses the wedding before they, exchange vows, and pulls Key Rock to the side and she tells him, what she's done. Key Rock is upset. He is mad because she waited so long. He's like, well, when did you know this? And, how does he know? And so he's upset that she waited and didn't tell him the result as quickly as he should be. I could see being upset about that. So Key Rock says, I need a moment to think. And he goes off to the side because this is really all about what Key Rock wants to do. Because Key Rock decides then that, he's telling her, before he goes off the thing, oh, I do all this to make you happy. No, you didn't, sir. You did this because you wanted to do this. You wanted to go ahead and get married real quick, fast, in a hurry for whatever reason. But it really wasn't to make her happy. This was really what you wanted, because it was obvious that Brittany did not want any of this that you had planned out. She went along with it, but it really wasn't her ideal. You can tell that. So anyway, Key Rock goes off to the side. He decides what he wants to do because it is always about what Key Rock wants to decide to do. Key Rock comes back. He thanks the officiant for coming to do the ceremony and tells him there will be no wedding today. So they all kind of leave, and coffee. And let me tell you too, when Key Rock was telling the officiant that there was not going to be a wedding, that he breaks it to Brittany's friend and coffee. I'm gonna tell you, Brittany's friend. You could tell she's trying to hold back a smile. She did not want this to happen. I think she's a good friend and she just wants better for her friend. But she was like, She was trying to hold back a smile. And, Coffee was upset. Coffee was standing there in a two-piece pink suit matching the dog who was wearing a pink dress and pearls. And I'm not mad at any of it. I was like, where are we going? How many matching outfits does she and the dog have? That's what I wanted to know. I was like, they are clean. The dog is dressed up, pearls, a little pink dress on. I think the dog even had a little something tapped to his head and wearing a pink suit. Okay. I was tickled by that. So the next time we see Brittany and Key Rock, they are back at Coffee's house, which looks crowded out. It looks like you have to turn sideways to walk down the hallway. And Key Rock is huffing and puffing around like, I'm packing up my stuff. I'm going to go to Texas then. And Brittany's got her foot down. She's like, no, you're not. You're not going. You're just mad. You're just mad. We see them go outside for a walk. And basically, they're trying to argue, but not too much on camera. Anyway, it ends up with Brittany's, convincing Key Rock to give it a week, because Brittany is hoping Brittany is hoping that the probation officer will give her the approval, that Texas will get the approval, and the probation officer will let her know that she can go ahead and go, but just to give it a week. What will a difference a week will make? So that is kind of where we leave off with Brittany and Kira waiting one more week to see if Brittany can get released as well. Then we have our Daniel and Brittany. Wait a minute, her name ain't Brittany, is it? Well, anyway, Daniel and the Bianca, that's her name, the toddler. Daniel is actually, it looked like he was recording himself, and he was explaining how hard it was for him to find a job, but he has finally found a job with a moving company, and he is very excited. And we even get to see him go to his first day at work, where we meet his boss, and his boss is explaining about how he knows firsthand what Daniel's going through, how hard it can be to find a job. But Daniel is excited to have this opportunity, and he's just so optimistic. He's so optimistic and so well-rounded, excited to get in there and, do what he needs to do to better himself. Bianca has an issue, and I cannot figure out what her issue is, y'all. She seems bothered. She's upset about something. She's upset that he's not working, upset he's not working enough, upset that he's not driving, upset he's not. I'm not real clear what Bianca is bothered by. But one of the things she says she's bothered by is that she's tired of driving him places. I mean, the man only been out for a hot minute. And so she's tired of driving him places, and she doesn't know if she wants to keep driving him to work, even though she don't have a thing to do all day. A thing to do all day. And she feels like, I can't be bothered with driving this man to this job that is it's a part-time job, that she can't be bothered with driving him to work. Daniel, you really need to see the writing on the wall. If this is real, look at the writing on the wall. So we see that Bianca is going to go and spend her day, it looks like she's in a toy store or some kind of hobby shop. She calls a friend, she's whining because, he got a job. But again, I don't know if the problem is he's working too much or not enough, because she thought she would have more time to himself if he had gotten a full-time job. So if he had a full-time job, she could have more time to herself. But she also complains about being lonely and not having enough to do. I don't know. She's such a toddler. I don't know. She also is complaining to the friend that they have not gotten engaged. He has not proposed to her yet. Nor should he. We see where Daniel gets off from work, and he doesn't know if Bianca is going to come for him. So he's waiting. He breaks down. He calls an Uber. For some reason, when he get in the house, he's all sweaty, because he wasn't sweaty when he was waiting on the Uber. I don't know if the car was hot or what, but when he gets in the house, he's all sweaty and he's tired. And she's just kind of like, oh, hey, hon, how you doing? So how was work? Oh, you only working part-time, not full-time? And she lets it be known, I'm not taking you anywhere. I'm not taking you everywhere. I'll let you know if I feel like it, but I'm not going to do it all the time. You can't be relying on me. Sir. She is not the one. She goes on to explain that what she did with her day was kind of shop around. The other thing that's confusing to me is how much money does Bianca actually have? Because she keeps saying she has a lot of money, but then she actually said, my money might last just a hot second. A lot of money is relative. So does Bianca actually have what we would all consider enough money not to work nowhere? That's what I'm curious about. Like, how much money does she actually have? How long can she sustain this lifestyle of not working or earning any income? Because one of the things she shared with him was that she spent the day kind of shopping, and she brought some figurines for them to paint, and that these figurines is great for couples things to do, and it's $130. Mind you, this man, I think he said he makes 20 an hour. So, and he works out, so he worked about all day. So if he makes 20 an hour and he works 7 hours, that's $140. So she went and spent in a hot minute what he worked 7 hours to get, almost 6.5 hours to get, probably. And he ain't even paid taxes yet. So Daniel, honey, you might want to pay attention to the writing on the wall. Do you need the letters on the wall to start bleeding? Because it is obvious y'all are not on the same page. And Bianca, it isn't obvious what she really, what is the problem? Like, you courted this man while he was in prison. Surely you had enough sense to know when he got out, he would not be like rolling in money or run out here and get a job making a whole lot of money real fast. You knew he couldn't drive. It is a term of his probation that he doesn't have a driver's license, nor is he allowed to drive. So you knew that. So you signed up, and now you don't like the product. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I need them to. Mm-mm. I don't know if I want to see them no more. Honestly, I don't know. I find her so unrealistic and annoying. Like, oh my God, is this a real person? We have Kim and Joy. Well, y'all, when we see Kim and Joy this time, they are visiting an attorney. And I don't know if they're two attorneys and our attorney and a paralegal, but they got questions. They got two main questions they need these attorneys to, help them with and to answer for them. So Joey is still upset, as he should be, because he feels like, you know what, she lied to me. She had me out here thinking we was going to buy a house, and she got a whole husband. That's not funny, but it did tickle me a little bit. So one of her questions for the attorney is, if they were to buy a house together, would her husband have any rights to it? And it turns out, like a lot of times when you talk to an attorney, it depends. It depends. The attorney said it would be better if you would go ahead and divorce and then buy a house, which that would make sense. That would make sense, because the husband could have a claim to the house, but he would have to jump through a whole lot of hoops to lay claim to the house or to start problems. So long story short, best thing is, my grandma used to say, if you want to end right, you got to start right. And so the best thing is to start right. Go ahead and get divorced and then buy a house, right? The best thing to do is if you want to end right, you got to start right. The other question they had was about the paternity of the father. And I thought that was really interesting, because they said that he was the presumed father because they were legally married at the time and he signed the birth certificate. And that is really for him to give up his rights. It's really for him to say, I want to prove that this is not my son. In which time Joey says, well, what if we can prove it's not his son? What if because I can't see letting him keep going thinking that this man is his father and I'm not. And the attorney was like, well, yes, he can, do that. But the attorney cautioned them and said, listen, if he is not the father and you challenge him on that, he doesn't have to pay you child support anymore. And that kind of was like because I couldn't quite catch what Joy was saying, because Joy was like, well, we can't keep waiting on him to pay or something like that. And the attorney, I did understand what she was saying. She said that real clear. This child support money is for the child. Because I don't know what Joy was saying. Yeah, we can't keep waiting on him. But the attorney was like, child support money is for the child. And this father is paying like $2,200 a month. He must be making a buttload of money. Because I know some people don't even break 1,000, don't even break 500 in child support a month. But he's paying $2,200 per month in child support. That's a good chunk of money. And Kim is like, this is the money I use to take care of my children. But if he is not the father and you can prove that, then he is not obligated to keep paying for a son that's not his. So you know what? You better think about, well, it's too late. You've already put this train on the tracks. But it can change things if he takes back the money. The other thing the attorney said is, it is possible that you could owe him the money back. What? Ooh. But then the math didn't make sense because she said I could owe him $20,000. And that didn't make any sense to me because that means he's only been paying child support for less than 10 months. So this boy, he's in school, so he's got to be at least 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old. Did he just start paying child support? But because it would seem to me you're going to owe him more than 20. Or maybe she's thinking about the half that she would owe, because maybe she would only owe 1,000. That might, but still, that's only 20 months. That's almost 2 years. I don't know. But she calculated that she would have to pay $20,000 back if he decided he wanted his money back. As well he should, if he finds out that he is not the father, but he's going to pay out all this money in child support. I'd be like, no, sir, no, ma'am, I'm going to need my money back, or I'm going to need credit for the money I have paid. So that kind of gives her pause. And then you see them kind of leaving the attorney's office. And Joey says, well, I guess we could get on a payment plan when we pay him $10 a month for the rest of our lives. Where Joey says we're going to pay him $10 a month for the rest of our lives. I'm like, no, that man going to want all of his ducks back. He's going to want all of his money back. We also see Tenny and Rob, right? We didn't really see much with them. We saw them kind of like make up after arguing about their tattoo thing. And she owned it. She said, I was being petty. I was being a petty boots. And that's why I brought up your tattoo. And I'm sorry. And so they kind of make up. We found out that Tenny knew what she was talking about. Tenny said, give me 2 weeks to get a job. And Tenny got a job. Because I had said, how in the world is she going to get a job in just 2 weeks? But Tenny got a job. They show her in an interview being made the offer. And the lady said, if 50,000 sounds good to you, well, she said, if 50 sounds good to you, I assume she's talking about 50,000 a year. If that sounds good for you, then, we'll like to extend the offer. So Tenny got a job. She's a paralegal. And here's one thing I will notice. In past lives, I used to, help people with jobs. Tenny didn't negotiate. You should always. The recruiters have an expectation that you will counter. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, that sounds really generous. I need some time to think about it. And then you come back with an offer. I would like for you to consider possibly paying X based on facts. And these should not be because I have kids. That's a fact, but that's not a fact they care about. The facts they care about is your experience and what you're bringing to the company. Right. But she just said yes. So they go out to celebrate. And they had this very weird scene, which I'm like, and who's staging these things? Where she is getting ready to go. Her and Rob, they are getting ready to go out to celebrate. They go in to tell the kids. The kids are under the covers in the bed. I was like, that's so weird looking. They're under the covers in the bed. I don't know what they're doing. Watching TV. She tells them, I've ordered a pizza for you to enjoy, for y'all to have dinner. Okay. All right, fine. So then you see them go out to a restaurant. Well, it looks like all they had were drinks. And during that restaurant time where they're celebrating and everything, Rob says that he would like for them to consider having their own baby. And so they kind of, couple talk about that a little bit. Oh, my eyes, your lips, this and that and the other. They dream a little bit. She doesn't know if she really wants a baby, but then she decides to, go ahead and start trying, because now that she has a job and he has plans, that now, he doesn't have a birth child and that he would like to. And so she's like, hey, I want to give him what he wants because he gives me what I want. And she decides, because she's 34, that she would like to go ahead, and have a kid with him. She explains all that in the confessional. And then we see them go back home. And it doesn't even make any sense because the kids are still in the bed. And I felt very much like this is so staged. This looks like, okay, y'all go ahead and tell them good night. And then you step out in the hallway and then you come back in and say, we're back. Because it didn't make, when did the pizza come? I mean, it's, why are y'all in the bed? Anyway, but that's what's up with Tanya Rob. She got a job. They decided to have a baby. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug. All right. So then we are with Justine and Mike. So we found out, unfortunately, when we first seen them, they're still talking some more about Justine's decision to let her daughter finish raising her teenage sons. Her teenage daughter, who is 19, is going to be saddled with the responsibility of raising her brothers if her mother is no longer here or able to do it. And for some reason, that makes real good sense to Justine. And it doesn't make sense to Mike because it don't make good sense. But we also learned that Mike's mother, unfortunately, has lost everything in a house fire. And now she's going to come and she's going to stay with them. And this has amped the stress up in the household, right? Because we learn that Justine's mother-in-law, and I don't think they ever really said her name other than to call her grandma, that she doesn't know that Justine is pregnant. They've been hiding it from her like they are teenagers, like they are kids who are going to be in trouble. So the mom, Mike's mom, has no idea that she is pregnant, and they made the kids keep it from her too, right? The grandchildren. This woman is apparently really close to her grandchildren and talks to them a lot, and they made the children keep their secret. You know, a half truth is a whole lie, and you make these kids keep that. And we see the daughter, Mike's daughter, kind of talking about, having to keep this secret. And, now that she's coming, they're going to have to tell him. And they're acting like giddy teenagers, like, oh, she's going to see, she's going to be mad, she's going to be. I need both of y'all to marry up and be like, we are married people. We get to make our own decisions. I don't know what you're going to do. So anyway, the mom is coming. He goes to pick the mom up. And I thought it was real interesting when he is picking the mom up and driving her to the house, which is a good time to have said, by the way, there's been some additions. But no, one of the things he said to his mom I thought was interesting was he cautioned her, like, don't come in and try to take over the house. He said, look around a little bit. Don't just come in and try to take over and try to run things. And I'm like, and the mama was not offended. The mama didn't push back and say, what? Me? I wouldn't go in anybody else and do that. I know how to behave, which means to me that mama this is not outside her realm. She might come in there and be like, why y'all doing this? We're going to do this now. So the mom gets to the house. They still have not told her. Christine decides to go sit by the pool and cover up like a child. And then the mom, the grandmom, she's hugging everybody. They're all happy to see her. Love, 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 love. She's kissing on the baby. She's like, oh, where's Justine? She goes out by the pool. Justine is all, she's going to find me. Oh, man up, woman up, something up. And so they kind of cut it with Mike saying, stand up, mom, look over here, acting just like teenagers. And see, that's why she gonna come in there and take over your house, because you're children. That's what's gonna happen. But that's kind of where we leave them. And then we also have Troy and Zara. I always have to think too hard to say her name. And so when we first see them, honey, they in a puff puff store, and they are like children in a candy stop, and they are happy and tee-heeing and giggling. Let's try this flavor. Let's get these pills. Let's get these edibles. They having the best time. They are having a good time. When they leave, it's kind of dark. She wants to go to a park, and she said that's where she finds her spirituality. And I'm like, so y'all in the park eating edibles like druggies? While they're in the park, she is asking, she's thanking him for adopting her son and standing up for her son. And he is already looking like he's like on the next level. He looks high. And she wants to know if he wants to have kids together with her. But he ain't so high. He said no. He said yeah. He's like, well, no, now that's the time and that kind of stuff. And then we learn in the confessional that Zariah, she is not taking birth control because it caused her to have skin problems, and she hasn't told him that. Why would you do that, ma'am? Why would you do that? You are not telling your husband that you're not on birth control, and so that you can. This man is going to be upset, as well as he should be. The next thing we see is the next time we see them, he is getting ready to take the son, Isharel. I never know how to say his name either, to a science museum, because that is something he always wanted to do with a father, was to go to a science museum. And so he's glad, Troy is glad to take him, and Isharel is, he don't look as excited as she does. But and also I'm thinking, what is the time frame? Because it looked like he had grown 2 feet since. I was like, that's the same boy. But they're going to a science thing, and she's nervous about it for some reason. I'm not real clear. She's asking him, like, what are you going to do if he acts out? I'm like, and this big boy right here, if he act out, you got another problem. But then the phone rings, and it's Troy's mama. And I'm like, yes, because Troy mama good TV. Troy mama is good TV. Bring her back, please. Yes, please, and more. Thank you. And so I was glad that it sounded like something was going wrong. So that's never good. But I was glad that, okay, we get to see some more Troy mama. And that is all of the couples. So thank you for watching. If you are still here, please send me a comment, a like. I would greatly appreciate it. It means more to me than you know. And thank you again. Take care.